Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the ComicCorp Podcast. I am coming to you live from my domicile in cold northern Ohio. We have snow now. It's winter. I'm your host, as always, Chad Porto, and joining me is the glorious one himself, Marcus Green. Marcus, how are you?
Hey, guys.
I was just about to drink too. Oh, that would have gone everywhere. I never expected this shit to happen. Uh-oh, spilled some coffee.
Isn't that the quote of the day? Shout out to wrestling Twitter.
Oh, wrestling's Twitter spilled tea, my friend.
This is justice for Bianca and screw Bill Goldberg, I guess.
Right.
Or justice for the Fiend and Bianca. Yeah.
Well, I'm fine with the Fiend not getting any justice. He's not really my friend. All right. I did spill some coffee, though, so I need to clean this up. All right, so Marcus, what do we have on tap today?
Speaking of boys, we got the boys.
That's right. We have more offerings from the Boys comic. Hopefully, I can enjoy some of the Boys television series tonight. Get back into that. I don't know when season 2 starts, but I know it's starting soon. All right. I seem to have gotten the coffee. It is no longer an issue. But I did get some on my computer, so here's hoping. It smells like coffee. But we should be all right. Hopefully. I'll be super fucking pissed if I gotta buy a brand new computer.
Also quote of the also relevant quote of the year.
Which quote would that be?
No, I'll be super pissed if I gotta buy a new computer.
Another new computer.
You hate to see it.
You hate to see it, but it keeps happening. All right, we're going to put the coffee on the bench. Don't move, coffee. You've been putting time out. We're going to put the water and that's on the bench as well. Y'all are causing too many problems. Just stop. Just mind your business. Okay, so let's talk about the Boys. So first, Marcus, we get Tell No Lie G.I. I tell you no lie G.I. And it is a wackadoodle. Just a wackadoodle fucking 3-issue arc. Most of it involves Huey talking about the origins of what he believes is the Boys, with members of with the little tiny dude. What's his name? The little bald, creepy guy. And during their conversation, we find out more about the Seven than we ever expected, including, but not limited to, the infamous plane scene from the TV series. It played out pretty pretty similarly to what we saw on television, but there were some differences. Marcus, when you were reading through that sequence with the plane, thoughts? Because it was a crazy fucking segment.
Honestly, I'm looking, I'm like, wow, like this is why me and Chad are so anxious for the show to come back, because they did it better with less people.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it had to do with, because there was a spin on it. Like, I actually saw people still complain to this day that, like, complaining that, like, Homelander is supposed to be some type of BS Superman, but he couldn't lift the plane. I'm like, that wasn't even the point of the scene in the show. It was long. He long game that whole situation. Yeah, I mean, just the urgency. I mean, the people's urgency and everything was the same. Obviously, like I said, less people was just Maeve and Homelander. Um, but yeah, I mean, like you said, similar feelings and stuff of that nature. But I just feel like it was just better executed in the show, and I think that maybe it would have worked better for me in the book too if it was less stuff going on because you got the pilot of it all, the blood going everywhere, and then you got this guy getting one guy ran into the plane, the other guy jumped out of the plane trying to hold on to Homeland, and then you still got Maeve there, and it was just too much going on.
In the book, we got to see more of kind of, I don't want to say a sillier side, but it was definitely more played for laughs because you had whoever that speedster was. He was supposed to be the Flash. He was trying to hang on to the Homeland marathon, yeah.
Yeah.
And they were yucking it up and kind of all that nonsense. But then there was what was going on with Maeve, and she was having to, stroll through essentially and deal with everyone kind of like begging for her help. That was hard. And the TV show nailed it because it showed Homelander had some sympathy, but it was not the kind of situation you would want to be in or have someone be in.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I'm just remembering that line. She's like, "Okay, look, can we just get the little girl? What? So she can be a witness?" I'm like, "Oh, he ain't playing, man."
Yeah, he's having his moments. He's having his menses. I think the scene that really, like, the part of the show that really kind of got me was he's like, "I'm sorry," and like that's all he could say, and he walked, and I'm just like, "Damn, this show's bringing it." Why I gotta like it so much? It hurts my soul.
Oh, the other part. Random N-words being thrown out.
Oh, yeah. That was just random. So I saw that. I'm like, I think I owe Marcus an apology.
You know what was bad? I saw it. I pulled the book up. I'm like, I didn't see that. And I scrolled back up and scroll back down. Oh, that's it. And then I scrolled to the next page and they did it again.
So I'm thinking to myself, okay, they said it. Let's see why. Let's look at the personnel of the hijacking. Okay, they're not black. I don't know if that makes it better or worse.
I'm like, what is he? He's literally colorblind. What's wrong with this dude?
Is that a good thing? Can the word still be racist if it's used against everyone? I don't know. These are questions I never thought I'd have to ask.
That's not the conversation I want to trust in the hands of this writer.
No, God, no. This writer has he's got a few screws loose. He's been punched too many times by the snake.
Anytime people matter is used as a form of recharge, I'm good.
Goddamn. So that was like the big revelation in I Tell You No Lie G.I. We also did get to see some of the exploration of them during Vietnam. Apparently, there were soups involved in that time period as well. You know, it was what it was. You know, the arc wasn't really all that. It wasn't really all that deep. We got discussion about the first success of the soups, the creation of Homelander, the Seven. Working for Victory Comics, which is the publishing company of Vought America. He specialized in fabricating the Vought American superhero deeds. The legend then reveals the Seventh's part in the destruction of the Brooklyn Bridge on 9/11 and how it led to the creation of the Boys. So there was a little bit of a 9/11 allegory involved. Apparently, instead of the towers, it was the Brooklyn Bridge that was destroyed on 9/11. So that's why we saw the Twin Towers a few issues back, if you remember that. That Vought American exec was flying, and we saw them in the background. We're like, wait, what? So a little bit of a changed history. I don't even know if, you know, how does that sit with you, knowing that instead of documenting a real-world event, they kind of augmented it for readers. Does that sit well with you?
Yeah, I don't mind it because I mean, it wasn't just for the F of it, right? Like this whole thing, and I think I favored this particular um arc over the upcoming one because there was a lot of just explaining really how the world works in terms of these big corporation entities, like because it came up in the conversation between Huey and the comic guy, but you know basically these people like in the show were just basically used as a chess piece.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like I said, it made sense because in the whole thing of because we're dealing with different countries and stuff, it made sense. They didn't literally like because sometimes we see stuff in adaptations where they'll just copy something down to the last bit and then call it like 812 instead of 911 or something like that.
Yeah.
So they didn't do that. So, and like I said, it did make sense for the story, and it was something we actually saw on the show. So I wasn't too bothered by it. I mean, I might be bothered more so because obviously, the closer you are to stuff like this, the more there's potential for aggressive overlap, if you will. But it didn't bother me.
Aggressive overlap. Another fun way of saying triggered. So we also get the interaction between the boys and the Seven in this arc. We also find out that there's a bit of I don't know if that we discovered it in this arc or the next one, but we discovered that there's a truce between the boys and the Seven. And, with the death of Mallory's grandchildren, who, I don't think we actually ever get seen killed. The boys essentially give up Lamplighter, not the boys, the Seven give up the Lamplighter to the boys as a sacrifice. Like, all right, you can kill him. That's
yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah, it's. Yep. We basically, I mean, we kind of found out about it in the conversation, which was probably the other great part of this. Really, the best part of this particular arc, besides like Huey just being us talking to that comic guy, but conversation between Butcher and Homelander, which is great. But yeah, I mean, in terms of what Lamplighter did, we get we see like the aftermath of what he did at our home. We basically like see a hand, just the aftermath of slaughter, basically.
Mm-hmm. We also got to see the first brought back superhero because they had Lamplighter standing on stage after he got killed. So we got to see the first effects of that zombie juice that they used to bring back guys. And we even find out that Blarney Cock, or whatever his name is hanging out in a hole somewhere. That A-Train and I can't remember her name, Starlight, have to clean up after, so that has to suck. That can't be fun. Then, of course, A-Train does what A-Train does, and he attempts to assault, a.k.a. rape Starlight. So Starlight's not having any of that, blinds him, and A-Train literally runs to go tell Homelander that Starlight blinded him, and Homelander responds by throwing a fucking jet. Because he's just not dealing with anyone's shit right now.
I swear, when he grabbed it, I thought he was about to slam it on him. I was like, oh, well, he's dead.
That's what I was thinking, too. So we then get issue 23 and 30, We Gotta Go Now. It reads, following the very public suicide of an original G-Man team member, Silver Kincaid, the boys are sent to investigate the G-Men, Vought American's most bankable team of outcasts. This is Garth Ennis saying that he hates the X-Men. That's all this is.
But by the way, imagine like watching it because Chad is probably one of the biggest proponents of the animated series, as we all should be, because it's an all-time classic. But imagine them having to fight a dude named Molesto. Molesto.
Oof.
Oh.
Hide Gene and Rogue and Storm for that one, folks, and Jubilee. That's not a fight anyone wants to deal with. So essentially, this arc is really, really long, really convoluted, and really, really pointless because it can be summed up in what I'm about to tell you. So they send Huey undercover to infiltrate the young X-Men, essentially. a group of frat boys who are training to become X-Men. Sorry, G-Men. The G-Men are a group of, what's the word I'm looking for? Children without parents, orphans, a group of orphans. And they're brought together by this dude, I can't remember his name. Do you remember his name? Godolkin? Godolkin?
Yeah, Godolkin, the brother of Godolkin. Oh no, yeah, it's Godolkin or something like that. That's name.
Hadouken! I'm doing well, thanks for asking. So his name's Godolkin, I think, and he's got like a strip of hair shaved out in the middle of his head that's missing, and he's the Professor Xavier analog. And you know they got like, what was it, PD, who is like just like Cyclops, but his laser beams were his sirens. You had Wolverine, but he was like an eagle, and I think Silver Kincaid was supposed to be Scarlet Silver or Scarlet Witch or Silver Surfer. I don't fucking care. There's so many goddamn fucking wannabes in this book. It's hard to keep up with all of them. So Silver Kincaid kills herself by essentially using her powers on herself, is at least the way I kind of interpreted it. Because it's kind of very vague. And she goes to this portion of this town, kills herself, looking for her uncle. We get a lot of mother's milk in this arc, which I actually appreciate. Because he doesn't get used a lot, but the more and more they use him, the more and more I just think of Garth Ennis using him as a 70s Marcus, help me out here.
Exploitation.
Blaxploitation. I was forgetting the poi. They're basically making him into a blaxploitation character or analogy. You know, very 70s lingo, heavy on the swearing. And I'm kind of like, are you trying to make him look kind of like Ricky Williams mixed with Sam Jackson's mouth? Because like I'm not sure what you're going with on this one. I'm borderline and thinking this is a little offensive, and I don't go there that often.
Yeah, and I'm sitting there thinking like, wait a minute, was he talking like this when we was like back with his daughter? Like,
not that I remember. So again, this is one of those instances where he was a lot more likable in the show because he swore. But he didn't swear like this, like not to such an exaggerated degree. I still remember that fucking scene. He sees goddamn what's his name? Leader of the boys. Why can't I remember anyone's name? Butcher.
Butcher. Yeah.
He sees Butcher in the facility. Motherfucker! And Butcher's just smiling at him. Love it. So the female and Frenchie are sent as backup to watch out for Huey. Huey, in turn, he has the best arc in this series with Starlight. They have a brief conversation after Starlight almost gets assaulted by A-Train. Huey and her talk, and the first thing out of Starlight's mouth is, "Please don't break up with me." And I'm like, did she tell him he almost... Wait. And then I remembered, oh, wait, the last time they saw each other, she bled out all over his bed.
Yeah, it was, speaking of the Red Sun. But, shout out to the comic guy. He was like, yeah, so tell me about this girl. Like, what? The girl with the, that hit you with the wounded wound. I said the wounded wound. I was like, that is hilarious.
We're going to use that a lot, aren't we? The wounded womb. So he's like, why would I break up with you over that? I tried calling you. So they reconcile, go back to his place, and finally doink. Then they have some pretty, metaphysical conversations about where they are as people and, what they want. And, are they just looking for the best of themselves and one another? And it's really kind of just, all right, whatever, Garth, whatever. They fuck in the park, which is adorable. But that's pretty much it between the two of them. But there's a brief little scene where Huey, who has infiltrated the young G-Men group, the G-Men are pranking the Seven with prank phone calls. And that's actually pretty fucking funny. Is Mr. Wall there? Nope. Is Mrs. Wall there? Nope. There's no walls here. Then how's your fucking roof staying up? I'm just like, I gotta use that. That's fucking great. That's fucking great. So, he calls. They call the 7 again, and they're again doing their pranks. And Huey says something about A-Train, and Starlight has taken the phone from one of the young G-men, and she hears Huey's voice, and Huey hears her voice, and they're both like, wait, it can't be. So they both hang up, but it's starting to bleed into one another's lives that, these individuals are vastly different than who they think they are. And Starlight even kind of started to hint about it to Huey, like dropping those little conversations like, so what do you think about the 7? Luckily for Huey, he hasn't said anything about it. He just kind of said, they're not for me.
Yeah, because he don't even know about her, do he?
Nope, not yet. And she doesn't know about him, so that'll be interesting.
Because obviously in the show we got it. I mean, it's kind of hard not to know when she's lighting up during those passionate moments. But it's still kind of cool because watching all the stuff that we watch is so rare to get like an upheld superhero identity these days. Like this week on the freaking Flash, somebody else found out Barry's identity because F it, why not? So it's still cool the fact that they can meet up and they both walk away and he's walking away with a big grin on his face and she's literally flying off. And nobody's the wiser. That's still cool to see.
Yeah, I dig it. Like what were we 6 seasons in before Lana found out about Clark? That's how you do it, folks.
Yeah, and she literally forced that situation.
Because she's the worst. At least Lois had a good reason. She literally saw Clark rise from the dead. Fucking Zod. Fucking dick. So, the G-men find out that there's an infiltrator in there. And the kids are called the G-Wiz, by the way. And they're instructed to kill Huey because he's revealed to be a spy. However, the Frenchman and female intercept and finish off the G-Wiz group, except for one young man who they interrogate. Butcher and Mother's Milk arrive just in time for that. Then some dude jumps out of a portal and brains the poor kid in the back of his head, killing him and then disappearing. And it's like, oh, okay. So I guess this is a thing now. But while, I wanted to cover this real fast, Mother's Milk was investigating why this woman killed herself. So they find out that as a little girl, Silver Kincaid was with her uncle, who absolutely adored her, and took her to go get like ice cream or some shit. Ran out to get, I think, feed the meter or get money or something like that, and came back in 30 seconds later, and she was gone. And the dad never knew what happened to his daughter. And Mother's Milk didn't tell the dad while he was investigating the death of Silver Kincaid that was his daughter. So I'm like, oh boy. But eventually it's revealed that all these kids in the G-Men who eventually became adults were never orphans in the first place and were in fact kidnapped by Godolkin and his crew. He injects them with Compound V and raises them essentially to be this superhero group. So they're about ready to throw down with the boys because, they're all at the funeral for Silver Kincaid. The boys are like, fuck this, let's just kill him. And what is it Butcher said? Worst ways to die or something like that. So they go marching in there to fucking throw down with these dudes. And all of a sudden, Vought America shows up, drops a bunch of troops on the ground, and eviscerates the G-Men with a barrage of bullets. It is rough to look at. Not gonna lie. Marcus, this was one of the heavier moments of the series, and it even says, like, on the subheadlining, things will never be the same again. And they're right.
Yeah, I remember going back to the last arc, seeing those soldiers' heads planted on the bunts of their guns. Mm-hmm. I was like, okay, this is different. But I think that's one thing I can appreciate about this book, because, I mean, all throughout these arcs, we've seen some gruesome stuff. And that's even before we get Butch, F and Mallory. So, or not Mallory, the other, the Vought chick.
Yes. Yes, I know who you're referring to.
Yeah.
The chick that always fucks Butcher but hates him.
Yeah, the hate fucker. But
that's a hell of a superhero name.
Yeah.
Hate fucker.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's upcoming. Knowing this book, it's upcoming. But yeah, I do appreciate it because I mean, obviously in the medium, in the show, it'll be like excessively gratuitous. Like we talked about it before, they walk that line really well. Like just that whole concept of a dude died from basically getting his face rolled. That's somewhere in that line. But this, I mean, they go there, and with the stuff they talk about, and the fact that, I mean, what's really interesting is like in the show, it's the boys versus the seven, but in the book, it's the corporation now versus the seven because there's a vested interest. Like you are literally coming after our investment, therefore coming after us. You're a problem. We're going to remove you from the equation. Oh, and by the way, don't stick your nose in our business. We can take care of our own problems.
In the show, we see that the Seven has handled Vought America themselves, specifically Homelander.
Yeah,
because he roasts people. He roasts everybody.
Yeah, because he's up on the game. He's like, I know what you guys like. You really think you're ahead of the curve, like, but I am the curve, and I'm gonna dictate the pace of this whole thing and allow you to think you're in control, while puppet it from the background.
So next issues are the Self-Preservation Society and Nothing Like It in the World. We'll also do... No, we'll save those for next week, or the week after. So let's just do next week the Self-Preservation Society and Nothing Like It in the World. There is a mini-series, Marcus, Herogasm. I don't know if we'll cover it, but it's worth... I've already read it. It's worth checking out because it's the debauchery turned up to 11. But it's not necessarily prudent to anything going on. It's more just to put over...
Cool.
What's up?
No, I was like, well, we can do we do the debauchery well here.
All right, well then let's do Herogasm and Self-Preservation Society for next week.
Okay.
So, we'll get to see more of the gratuitous sex and violence that Garth Ennis seems to love so much.
Oh yeah, and shout out to what the freak is the dog name? Killer?
Yeah. Such a good puppy.
That was I just thought about it. You know what that scene? Anytime me and Chad get to big up this movie, we will. If you don't like it, suck off because we love the movie. That scene between Homelander and Butcher on that balcony reminded me so much of Lex and Superman and BVS.
Oh yeah.
Where is she? With the eyes, it was like you even send your hair on my dog, and this shit gets turned up to 11 right now. But then even before that, like, and this one of the few times I can see like perfect similarities, a synchronicity between the comic book guy and the guy that's playing the TV show, because the guy that's on the TV show will 100% do that hot and cold game he played with him.
Yes, he would. Yes, he would.
He was like, a girlfriend? Your mom? Cold? Cold. Wait a minute. Wife. Hi.
They did a great little number. It was, I think it was in the arc after the first one where they kind of mentioned, or is the issue after that one, where they mentioned that in a fight between the boys and the Seven, obviously you know who'd win. But then they mentioned, but Butcher has everything over the head of the Seven. So if they were to ever be killed, all that information would be leaked to the public. So like that's the trump card. Like that's the gambit right there. You know, you can kill me anytime you want, but you can't stop what I know from getting out then. So keeping me alive is the only way that keeps keeps me silent. So, and that's like that's not a bad idea. That's the bomb vest of every, bad guy. If you leave, the bomb goes off. If you go under 50 miles an hour, the bomb goes off. If you try to leave the bus, the bomb goes off.
Yeah, but, by the way, I did like yesterday on TV randomly was Speed 2. It was either yesterday or the day before, and I'm like, hell yeah. Like that. Oh, like Willem Dafoe's the villain, and Keanu didn't even come back. See exactly why I never saw this movie.
Willem Dafoe's a great villain, but Keanu Reeves not going. If the boat goes below 35 miles, wait, if the boat goes below 20 knots an hour, we'll probably have to evacuate because the bomb's probably not that big, and I don't know, probably have like an hour and a half to evacuate. No, people really didn't
stay above 20.
You know what they should have done? Go on a plane and say if the plane drops below or if the plane exceeds like 300 miles an hour, the bomb goes off. But like place it right at the point where if the plane's not going fast enough that it starts to fall. So like give it like a mile an hour difference. So like you're either going fast enough to blow up or slow enough to fall. That's how you made Speed 2.
And then, oh man, I'm thinking about it now because it's not like he could have went outside the plane, even though they probably figured out some cockamamie would get it done. I'm like, man, he could have been Tom Cruise before Tom Cruise a little bit.
That would have been hilarious, just watching Keanu Reeves try and slide out of like a wheel row or a wheel well from the plane, like underneath the plane with like suction cups. And like as he's like moving to the back of the plane with suction cups as it's flying through the air, he's just like dun, 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 dun. Keanu, what are you doing? I'm singing the Mission Impossible theme song.
Exactly. Like, and who grabs him at the last second because who happens to be on this fight? Oh, it's Gigantor.
Yeah. Did you ever see Executive Decision? John Leguizamo, Kurt Russell, Steven Seagal.
No, wait, I think I did.
So Steven Seagal leads like this team of like super CIA dudes. And he's like the baddest dude of the baddest dudes. He gets killed off in the first 20 minutes of the movie. But it's basically that plot. Only instead of Keanu Reeves, it's Kurt Russell. Halle Berry's in it. Looking all Halle Berry. I don't know if you can make Halle Berry a verb, but I'm certainly going to try.
They should.
All right, let's talk some Wonder Woman. We'll get to My Hero next. So Superman Red Sun came out recently.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen it yet?
Yeah.
Thoughts on the Red Sun?
I dug it as an animated film. Now, I don't have any novel reference for it because I haven't read the actual story that it's based on. But as a movie, I dug it. And I'm not coming in this movie hoping to root for a Soviet superhero, but I appreciate that concept and what they did with it. That had some good stuff, and it even made me, oddly and weirdly enough, appreciate a potential relationship in the Elseworld setting, obviously, of a marriage between Lois Lane and Lex Luthor.
Could have gotten Lois and Lana.
Yeah.
Somebody say. That show will never die. Not my heart.
Ever. Always hold on to Smallville here, but
I'll always hold on to Smallville. Yeah. I'll always hold on.
So good. But yeah, in terms of what's coming up that we're about to talk about, it was a one-off line,
right,
and nothing more.
So they make Wonder Woman a lesbian in Red Sun. Here's my issue with ever doing a Wonder Woman is gay story arc. They go straight to the whole, well, there's nothing but women on the island, so obviously she'd be into women. And I'm thinking to myself, by making that statement, you emphatically just say that you can choose who you're attracted to. which in turn is exactly the point against things like, you can be cured of being gay. You can't. You are what you are. You're attracted to who you're attracted to. You're not going to all of a sudden just be into the lady meat just because it's the only option. This isn't a situation where you need to have sex to live. Although, that'd be a hell of an alien race that Star Trek should definitely visit. I need to have sex. Captain Kirk's like, I volunteer. But the idea that just because she's on an island full of women, you do the math, which I think is the line, that is just so fucking... it's gross in the implied context of that just because there's only women, that's all she would ever want to be with. If you did a line like, I'm from an island full of women, so I learned to appreciate them, but I'm not into them, or if you were like, I learned about men when I was very young, but I'm definitely into the lady meat, and that's how you reveal she's gay, cool, that works. Not something I'm going to be a gung-ho component for, because I'm always of the mindset that there are other characters that aren't established that you can do this with. But if the argument is that she's a lesbian because there's nothing else there, then you're basically saying that she's that she's choosing her sexuality and not, embracing who she really is. That's the problem I have with these. Just because she's on an island full of women doesn't emphatically mean she'd be gay. She would more than likely consider herself non-sexual than anything. But, the cheap excuse, and I think Greg Rucka, I think he was writing Wonder Woman. He was the first one to really say this, like, oh, she's on an island full of women, figure it out or whatever. I'm just like, I've been around dudes in sporting environments my entire life, but I never once felt the urge to enjoy the man butt, So, I don't get where this mentality is like, oh, gee, it's the only thing available, so obviously she'd be gay. No, that's not the default answer you should go to.
Yeah, and is it more emphasized, for you, because obviously the whole thing, because of the topic of conversation comes up in so much gray areas in this, but, the conversation of, you're either born with it or maybe it's Gabeline or something like that.
We're making that a thing. Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's Gabeline. Well, it's like the thing, like, there's always these ridiculous human beings who are like, well, we can cure you of your sinful urges. And it's like, but can ya? I don't think you can, homie. I'm just going to be honest with you. Like, we are the way we are. Like, you can't really correct that. By saying that because she's on an island, she would, just naturally go with the lesbianism, you're embracing and endorsing the idea that you can, quote, unquote, cure homosexuality. So this is a dangerous fucking road to go down as a writer, and people need to be aware of that.
Yeah, just to appease whatever's going on narratively in society at the time. It really was unnecessary. Like, the conversation could have went elsewhere. It was in the way that the character of Soviet Man brought it up. It worked because of his naivete to the whole thing. Like, he's just like, in his mind, he was expecting to have some type of romantic exchange because of, I guess, an American custom. Because that was the whole thing, bridging that gap, and then that got brought up. But they could have took that elsewhere. Like, you didn't need to necessarily. And then somebody was like, well, she's gay in certain comics. I'm like, okay, well, because that's always the argument. If she's gay in one arc, then it works. But
she's gay in Earth 69. Nice.
Of course. Earth 69.
Nice.
But it also, it almost is weird because again, these are the same individuals who hate boxes, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if part of this just comes along and say I grew up around women, and that's kind of all I've been attracted to because of that. But I'm with this guy, we're clicking, and I like you right now, and whatever popping off between us can go. And for some reason, the power of choice is frowned upon because you need to have some type of unrelenting loyalty to a title. You're either gay, straight, or whatever. And it's like, people talking about you don't want boxes, and then now the power of choice is wrong. Like, you just can't like what you like in a moment that you like it. Like it's, you know.
Yeah, that is definitely one mindset to go with. For me specifically, my big issue is the idea that because she's only been around women, that's all she'll ever be sexually attracted to, is inherently the portion that I think is the problem, because you're basically saying that she doesn't have a natural desire of her own and that she was basically told she had to be gay. Or you're more than likely saying that because she was only around women, that's the only thing she ever found attractive. So you're basically excluding the idea that she's just not attracted to anyone or not attracted to women. Like, it's that idea where, like if there's a gay kid and they're like, we're going to send you to conversion camp. You can't fix that kid. Like, there's no quote unquote fixing that kid. He likes the dude, she likes the chick. It's what it is. You can't fix that. But in this book, when Greg Rucka's mind, there's all these women, so of course she'd be gay. No, you're saying this the inverse. You're saying the same thing that all those conversion camps say, that you can choose who you're attracted to. And I don't like that. If she just said, I have a girlfriend or I have a wife, that would have been a much better line to use. But she, the whole, I'm from an island full of women, you do the math. That's literally saying, I'm on an island full of women, I have no other options, so obviously I'm gay, because who you're naturally attracted to doesn't matter. And that's the problem I have. I don't like this idea that you can pick and choose who you want to be with because of your options. If I'm the last man on earth and the last woman on earth is some unattractive individual or is some dude, for all I know, I'm not going to all of a sudden be like, well, yep, I guess you're it.
That's a great point. I think something for me to kind of, I guess, trampoline off of that. It's funny because that's your argument, which obviously that's not the narrative everybody else is going with. That just so happy that they either the gay of it all, or just an uproar that it got brought up. But I feel like there would be an uproar in terms of the direction you're talking in had he brought up and been like, well, I would have hit on you, but you coming up in an island of all women, I just assumed you was gay.
Right. See, on one side, it's empowering. On the other side, it's insulting.
Yeah. You don't get to choose for her. It's not. Okay.
Right? And here we are. That's why I like the original origin, or whatever origin of Wonder Woman we're on anymore, where she finds Steve Trevor and she's like, I like that. I don't know what that is, but Mama wants a slice. That right there is human reaction. She's all like, chicks are cool, whatever. I mean, yeah, Amazon's cool. I like you, you're cool. We fucking sword fight each other. That's fun. I like beating bitches up. Then she sees Steve Trevor. What's this little tiny doll thing? I like him. I want pieces of him in my mouth. So that makes sense, because that's that human reaction. That's that human instinct. There's no learned behavior. There's no augmentation of behavior. There's no nothing. And it'd be no different in my mind if it was, the inverse. If she was on an island of old dudes and she's the only chick and she's like, I don't like the dude meat. And then she sees this chick and she's like, I want pieces of her in my mouth. Yes, please. That would be fine, because that's human instinct. That's the natural attraction kicking in. That's you don't pick who you're attracted to. You just are who you're attracted to. But in this instance, you're basically saying that because she's placed into a singular situation that she's obviously going to be gay, because what else would she be? And I hate that, because she could be asexual. Yeah. She could just not be sexual at all.
And I think this is where I'm really seeing your point with the woman-to-woman, the Steve Trevor example, because it's like, yeah, because we spend more time around our, guy friends than, girls, just because of natural interaction or whatever, consistency, if you will. But that don't mean, like you said, we want to bang them or something.
Mm-hmm.
When did the narrative switch over that if she has spent all her life on the island of women and she's not attracted to women, that's the bad thing?
Right. Why can't it just be both? Why can't both possibilities exist or neither exist? This is the issue I get in when we talk about Wonder Woman, because everyone's like, well, she's in an island full of women, so obviously she's gay. Dude, I played football for I don't even remember how many years. I took too many shots from the goddamn snake. But, you know, there was a point in my time where I'm just like, yeah, maybe I'll try a dude. Like, no, like that conversation never popped in my head. Usually it was just like, ow, ow, ow. Ooh, no, that's a new pain. I thought it was just my foot. That's my lower neck. I didn't think my neck went that far down. So I don't understand, you know, these are people who don't hang out with you know, same-sex friends for all that long, or who don't identify as straight who talk about this. Because when you're gay or lesbian or bi or whatever, you know, you're around certain types of friends and you're probably attracted to them. If you're straight, you're not attracted to those people. You're just not. It's nothing wrong with that. You're just kind of like, I like hanging out with Marcus. I would not want to get chocolate from him, though. I just realized you're black and that could have a double entendre. I would not want to share a romantic dinner with him. I'll grab a slice of pizza. We can bitch about the NFL, pro wrestling, although Bill Goldberg, big ups, Big Bill, loving that. But, you know, like there's no romantic connectivity there. And that's the same from all my dude friends. But if I have a chick friend, more than likely I'm going to be attracted to her. Because I like the chicks. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like, you know, the argument falls flat to me because you're just assuming that anyone who spends all their time around the same sex of people they have to be gay. No, no, they don't. Just like if someone hangs around the time with the opposite sex, that means that they have to be straight. They don't.
Exactly, and even on a far lower intellectual level.
I thought we were the lower intellectual level. Can we go lower?
Oh, wait. Yeah, there's more. If Chad has a gay friend and he hits on Chad and he turns him down, Chad's deemed homophobic.
Sometimes that could be construed the case. I have been hit on by a gay friend. I've turned him down. I was like, sorry, bro. He's like, that's fine. So it's you know, like not everyone has to always rush to that, you know, that conclusion. I think we're just too goddamn sensitive. I think it's okay to turn people down. I think it's okay to be decent to one another. I think it's okay not to assume, you know, your implied impressions. You know, it's okay to just let things play out. And it's okay to actually tell stories that take a little bit more nuance in there than, well, what else was I going to do? They were the only ones there. That's a weak ass answer. It's also that answer is also driven by people who think about sex way too much. Like that's the person who you need to work. Excuse me, that need to worry about. Like that person who's like, well, obviously she'd be gay because she's only around women. What? She could just never enjoy sex or not want sex.
Yeah, like that. And obviously, because obviously in my community we had these conversations all the time. But I hear all the time because of high incarceration rates that. Obviously, if somebody gets a significant amount of time in jail, they're gonna, as they call it, be gay for the stay.
Mm-hmm.
Because of, you know, obviously there's nothing else around, or there's obviously because, you know, it's just gonna happen. There's no other choice, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's like that's not always. They're like a psychopath in there that are just more turned on by the prospect of the proximity in which they can now kill a amount of people as opposed to because I don't know if you saw this. I don't know if it was on Locked Up or whatever, but they called this guy like he was like the booty bandit or something.
Oh no!
but the dude, he would basically punk guys into being his bitch because he was like, if I go up to you and I see you and I like you and I want you, you either get two options. You could go the smooth way or the hard way. Like, wow.
That specific kind of instance does happen, but the idea of, you know, just random dudes popping off because they haven't had any female loving in years, it doesn't happen that often. It's mostly involuntary, and that's not a funny thing to laugh at. But, you know, the idea of like dudes just kind of doing it, you know, it doesn't happen as often as people think in prison. Like that's just kind of the narrative. But I've known plenty of felons, and either they don't tell me the truth, which is obviously a possibility, or they do tell me the truth, in which case it doesn't really happen as often as people think. Most of the times it's just them pining for women. You know, Orange
Yeah,
and the
you
New
hear
is
about a
Black
lot of.
really gave that idea a whole nother level, and damn them for that.
It's funny because I've never watched an episode of it, but you do hear a lot of times about those female correction officers. We just had a conversation about the teachers. You hear about stories like that with between the CO and the cellmates.
Oh yeah,
Where COs are pregnant
there
by these guys.
was, I want to say Alabama, Florida, maybe even Louisiana. She started to sleep with one of her inmates, and he convinced her to smuggle in all this stuff so he could escape. And the guy eventually escaped, and she's left hanging the bag. And I'm just like, how could you be that dumb? Like, how could you be that foolish? Don't fuck the inmates.
Yeah, it's funny. I heard one story like I think one CO caught something from the guy and ended up giving it to her husband.
Jesus Christ. Don't fuck the inmates. They shouldn't get to be rewarded. Speaking of rewarding, let's talk about My Hero Academia. So we had... Did we talk about this last week? No, I'm sorry. All right, so I forgot that this was kind of a 2-episode episode. I'm trying to move this real fast. Come the fuck on. I need me some headbanging in Midoriya. There we go.
Speaking of teachers and kids.
Yeah. So the episode was 2-part, essentially. The first part dealt with... There we go. Wait, nope. Nope. God, come on. There we go. That'll work. So the first part dealt with the aftermath of, well, not the aftermath, but the culmination to the little kids fighting the failed out heroes. And they all fire their shit, and they're all like, "We're gonna rip you apart." And then all the teens were like, "We made an entire ice slide with cool special effects, and Bakugo's not being a total dip. Have fun with us." And the kids are like, "Oh, this is so much fun." And then Bakugo tells the little leader dude, he's like, "Hey, little leader dude, these kids are gonna look up to you. You need to learn how to be like All Might and not be a douche can." And the little kid's like, "Thanks, older douche can teen boy." And Bakugo's like, "Yeah."
Can't go around crapping on people because you're never gonna smell your own stuff.
Yep. It was a hell of a kind of a little conversation between them, and I adored the hell out of it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, it was so endearing. Like it was a level of maturity that we got from these young heroes that like elevated action scenes can never really hit. Because this is like, a true level of maturity, not just maybe not necessarily in the power of, but how they use their powers, which is as important as being having powers or how powerful you are in the first place. So for them to be able to, because they literally hit them with the super volley like Vegeta did Cell, but they're like, oh my God, they don't think we're impressive, and then they basically just. Ooh, I'm like, shout out to the girl that did the charm. That stuff with Bakugo was hilarious. And just witnessing the wind guy lift a little dude up and he's just grabbing his chest. He's a douchebag, but he meant what he said. I've been touched.
and not in the in the good way. His heart was touched. His soul.
Yeah, emotionally he was touched. Yeah.
Yes. Life was breathed into him. So that was sweet and endearing, and Endeavor and All Might still had their little conversation, and All Might was still like, "Why the fuck am I here?"
Yeah, and then because he couldn't give him an answer for he was asking like, what pushes you to be that symbol, and then you get to see through Endeavor's eyes. Now he is recognizing what his reason is. It feels like a little too late, but you're never too late to I guess turn over a new leaf, which is what we're getting in a way with this.
Mm-hmm.
Which this next part between him and because they go outside of the school, and that's where they hit another great emotional beat. I'll let you lead into.
Well, so we find out that Endeavor's motivation to be the number one hero is to regain his son's love and respect. He says something offhanded, kind of to the point of, I know I wasn't the father you could be proud of when you were growing up, but I swear I'll be the hero you could be proud of, or something to that effect. And in his mind,
Yeah.
if he becomes the new symbol of peace, his son will love him again. But his son's all like, bitch, look at my face. You did this.
Look at my face. Oh,
Technically, his mom did
he was at a. Yeah, he was like, "Hey man, where's mom? Oh, she's in a mental asylum. I wonder what happened there."
Hey, Dad, I'll be home. You, and Mom can have dinner. Oh wait, no, we can't. Mom's in a mental asylum because she burned my face because I look too much like you dick. Hey, Dad, you want noodles for dinner? Poor Aoyama. He's yet to have any actual noodles and well, what do they call those goddamn noodles? You can buy them in a store. They're just ramen noodles. He's yet to have any goddamn ramen noodles in like 10 years, asshole.
And it's fun. I mean, and the show didn't go in terms of the line, but it's so much more for Todoroki than just him being like, "I'm gonna be a good hero now." Like, no, it's and it was a really great scene. Specifically, I mean, because Endeavor's having to step up in two instances. He's lost his benchmark in All Might, so he has to turn that energy elsewhere. So he's looking inward now, because All Might is the outward goal he could always look to, but now that's out the way. You got to do the mirror stuff. So, but it's so much deeper because, like you said, it's like yeah, you could be a good hero, but dude, you were an abusive ass prick to me and my mom. First of all, you forced bread with her to make me. Then you basically tried to push her out of the way because you were done with what you needed her for. Basically took out your anger on her, which forced her to take anger out on me. Things happen. Now she's sitting in the mental asylum, and I've had to deal with not only the stuff that you've done to us, but living in your freaking shadow. So it's deeper than what the scene implied, but you get it from both in a way, and it was cool to see in a way that he kind of he didn't show it because obviously his dad still has a lot of ground to make up, but he kind of liked the fact that he saw his dad turning over a new leaf. But I think it's more than just Todoroki he needs to do that for.
Yeah, and I this is gonna be a slow build arc, I think, but it will be nice to get Endeavor kind of redeemed. And the thing I keep seeing like all this, all these villains and all these different TV shows, I forgot who. I think it was like the Flash's villain or something like that, or Batwoman's villain, and like the headline's like, "Can so and so be redeemed?" And I'm like, not every villain needs to be redeemed, man. Like some villains can just be villains. No one's sitting here looking at fucking hero killer Stain going, "Oh yeah, he can be redeemed." No, he's a lunatic.
Even though his intent was in the realm of following, from his warped perspective, the ideals of All Might, his execution of such were completely misinterpreted in terms of, like I said, he came up with his own logic to justify what he was doing and kind of framed it in All Might's ideology. But this week on The Flash, which was a sucky episode outside of the overall season narrative dealing with a new Mirror Master, Grodd turned over a new leaf because, as he said, doing all that garbage that we saw him do, or the evil stuff that we saw him do, didn't bring him the happiness he was looking for. So, because he was a super smart gorilla, he basically knew what happened in Crisis, and Barry wasn't trusting him, and because something happened where the Chesterfield dude turned up some type of frequency on the thing, and he linked up with Zod in his mind, and it was just whole dreamscape garbage. But by the time the episode ended, because we also found out in the episode that Gorilla City is now on our Earth Prime. So he just wants to go home. So I guess because Barry convinced Lila that Grodd turned over a new leaf and he was just going to go back and not bother anybody. They actually let him out on probation.
God, Dr. Doolittle got weird.
Murderous ass monkey out on some type of like gorilla probation. I'm like, what the hell is it? I just, oh my God, man, like this it makes no sense.
He's got to check in with his monkey CO. He's got to have a job in Gorilla City within 60 days, or at least show that he's been trying to get a job in Gorilla City in the next 60 days.
What he got out for good behavior? He was unconscious for most of this time in August because you guys recalibrated the freaking thing on his head to make sure he was asleep. Like what? Oh my God.
He's got to read the little gorillas in Gorilla City every other weekend for the next year as part of his probation terms, and ironically enough, it's only books of Curious George and the Bernstein Bears for some reason. But hey, what are you gonna do? It's Gorilla City. So yeah, I totally believe that. This show is fucking stupid. There's a reason why I stopped watching. God damn it. This show, man.
But somebody who was watching Midoriya was.
Oh, so this was weird. So I figured his name. Umino, Belly Button Sunshine Boy.
Belly Button Bandit.
That's a whole nother animal. So what's his name, Marcus? Do you remember?
Freaking Google this dude. My hero.
Belly Button Blast.
Bean Boy. Belly Bean Boy. What is his name?
Sunshine.
Oh, Aoyama.
Sunshine.
Basically, Aoyama.
Sunshine Aoyama. Man, I gotta know. It doesn't matter, Petey. Why do you gotta know? Man, still, I gotta know. My coach been keeping Petey out in the sun too long.
Man, don't play around. Yeah, I know, man. I need to know, man.
It's not a big deal, Petey. Why do you gotta know? Fucking Kip Purdue. I love that man.
Like, why are you so? He's from California.
He's Californian. When I was watching that as a kid, I'm like, what does Californian mean? I'm missing the context. So, Ayama's hanging outside of Midoriya's room. He's leaving little notes. I know, I think is what he says. And then he's like stalking him. And Midoriya's like, you gotta fucking tell me what's going on because you are weirding me the fuck out. I am into your gravity, not you. And Aoyama basically says, you know, you and I are so much more alike than you realize because we're both people whose quirks rejected us. And Midoriya's like, oh, I'm such a dick. And Aoyama basically says, like, you know, if I don't wear this belt, then I'm basically in chronic pain. The beam will just, you know, come and go as it pleases. It'll fucking leak. Like, that can't be fun.
Yeah, man.
And when he's like, and he says something to Midoriya, kind of like, you know, own it or something to that effect or figure it out. You know, he says something optimistic, like, you know, I've seen you grow and you've done so much more with your quirk than I've ever been able to with mine. So like, keep doing it and all that. And Midoriya's like, all right. And then Midoriya's like, and that's how I became friends with Aoyama. And then they cut to credits. I'm like, this is a weird episode.
I'm like, but again, that's the brilliance because, like I said, I didn't like Night Owl for most of the season, but they 100% got me in that last half.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, his death when he kind of got all that stuff out, and you kind of get the why. We didn't get a lot of why behind the character.
No.
Throughout the first half of the season, but when you get his whys and then you get that emotional moment in the music, and this show does so well with deep moments accompanied by phenomenal music. I was 100%, you know, mourning Night Owl and rooting for him, you know, as he passed on. But in there's brilliance in this because they allowed them to form a bond without changing who Aoyama was to fit, you know, a certain perspective of what we view as normal.
Mm-hmm.
Because he kicked off the thing he did, which, depending on how you view, oh man, that's gay, or however you view that, him shoving a cheesy treat in his mouth.
That certainly wasn't hetero.
And then, like, he basically, you know, trying to force feed him. And then he leaves him that message of, I know your secret with the cheese outside of his door. And the way that they did it was both kind of exceedingly creepy and like a mild horror element to it.
Yeah.
But, you know, it was 100% Aoyama because everybody else is talking about going to get a burger or something because, you know, Ida keeps everybody on track. Shout out to Ida. But you see him eating all these exquisite treats and drinking this wine. He was like, oh, he's so bougie. But you know, then you hear the conversation he has with Deku, and it's like he probably has to eat like this because if he helps his stomach be upset, it's over for him.
Mm-hmm.
He has to eat this bougie food to keep his stomach at a certain level of stable. Because if he, you know, again, his quirk works against him, so that's the thing. Then you oftentimes don't think about it, but you know, we've seen how excessive use of a quirk can mess somebody up. Like Bakugo can't just be blasting off his explosive for an hour; he'll mess his arms up.
Mm-hmm.
And other people too, like Uraraka used to pass out with her quirk and so on and so forth. But you don't think about like these people, and a lot of times like how people are born in real life with these autoimmune disease and stuff like that. Like how these people can be born with quirks that completely work against them, and they have to come up with what they call it, either hero tech or something else to kind of keep things under wraps. So, you know, to me, I thought that was a really good way of just giving us a deeper level of understanding of Aoyama, who could easily be thrown to the wayside, be like, oh, that's Belly Bean Boy. Because a lot of people like to focus on the big three because they like to see power and technique and so on and so forth. But, you know, this guy's really struggling because the thing that makes him special is also the thing that kind of holds him back. So, you know, for him to look at Deku and be like, you know, I remember when you used to go straight noodle after using your quirk. And, you know, now you're practically a boss. So, you know, just keep it up. I thought that was a beautiful moment. Like, even in the creepiness of it all, they came out with a beautiful moment. And, again, that's credit to the writers because it'd be easy just for them to almost write Aoyama off the shelf. But, you know, they always find a way to bring it back to 1A. Even if they need to do something that is important as making Mineta feel important for an episode. It's never an arc, it's an episode. But they found a way to do that. It'll never be an arc for poor Mineta. Like, even in this episode, because I think it was the Acid Girl and Uraraka, they was like, when we go out into the field now, we could, like, form teams based off how our quirks work and our friendship. And then the Electric Kid and Mineta was like, what about us? Oh, we don't need you. Like, oh.
They don't have any friends. The best part was Ayama's like, Midoriya, did you like the cheese? And Midoriya's like, I don't really eat ground food. Midoriya don't ever change.
Then how he just randomly woke up and just knew it was Aoyama. He was like, what's that creepy bastard at my window? Why didn't he just come in here and ask me something?
His room is right down the hall. Why didn't he just come in?
And then even worse than that, like, if you thought like you said, it wasn't exactly hetero with the cheese in the mouth, when he basically backshotted the brick and blasted his beam through it, I was like, oh, where are they going with this?
Speaking of where are they going with this? Goldberg. Big Billy Goldberg. He won the Universal title, and Marcus isn't too pleased about that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm a Goldberg fan. Maybe not as much as Chad, but I am a Goldberg fan. I think just for me, it's just not enough being a fan of his to kind of warrant this decision in a way. Just because like it 100% encapsulates everything that's wrong with the narrative direction of this company right now in terms of their talent.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, this is over. I mean, Undertaker returned on this show, and I didn't watch this show. I watched it. Shout out to the people on YouTube. But yeah, I mean, again, you know, you hindering your young talent and putting over. I mean, this is a 53-year-old man. Mm-hmm. A well in shape 53-year-old man, but a 53-year-old man from an era that no longer is a thing. and you know, he basically spams his finisher. Um, and by no means are we putting over Bray as this in-ring savant, because we know that's not the case. But you know, with as much investment as they had in getting Bray back to some form of relevance, of which he was all but in the ground before the Fiend, you would think that they would, you know, make that a more long-term decision. I don't know, like you said, where they going with it, and it's cool to see Goldberg back and potentially him being there more than Brock, which ain't saying exactly a lot, although we've seen far more of him lately than we've seen in years prior. I don't know, you know, because if this is all leading to where we know it's probably leading to, which is Roman, I have no desire to see a spam spear match.
So you and I are going to disagree because when I heard it was Roman wide, I was like, pass. But then I read today on the Observer that they were going to do Cena, Wyatt, Goldberg, Reigns. I'm like, wait, they're going to take Roman out of the title scene? But then Goldberg won. I'm like, wait, they're going to put Roman versus Goldberg for the title at WrestleMania? And both of those, Cena, Wyatt, Cena, Fiend, and Roman Goldberg are like both matches that like I'm actually into. I'm like, wait, I could be into this. So like I'm super into the idea of Goldberg versus Roman. I was like, all right, you know, I could be for this. Definitely Roman needs to change his look. I've been saying that for years, but you know, this could be huge, and I'm all for like a 6-minute match at WrestleMania between those two. As long as it's exciting and hard-hitting and just so much fun, I don't give a damn if it's 90 seconds or 90 minutes. Just make it good. I don't ask for much in this world. Just want something fun. Marcus, can you can you get into WrestleMania knowing those are the two big matches right now, that and Undertaker Styles?
I mean, yeah, Undertaker Styles. I mean, he got one of the. He may have gotten a better, quicker payday than Brock has. In certain instances, I mean, he literally didn't even uncoat himself. Did he take the hat off? No,
Nope.
he didn't. Oh, Jesus Christ! I wonder how long it takes him to get in that full regalia. But either way, the money more than makes up for any jet lag or whatever he may have had. I don't know, man, because again, it's like that's a dream match on any card. But then it's like a dream match however many years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, you know, is it the dead man or is it a funeral home director versus a soccer mom now? Whereas years prior, it's the phenomenal one versus the phenom.
Soccer mom.
You know. Sorry, man. It's the hair, dog. It's the hair.
I'm not at all going to disagree. You know, he does look like a soccer mom.
Phenomenal soccer mom versus the funeral home director. But Goldberg and Reigns, that's interesting. Again, a lot of that's going to have to do with the build-up and how they do it. Obviously, Cena's coming back, so something's going to pop off there. And it is the SmackDown, so that will make obvious narrative sense. And it's not like we haven't seen Bray take an L like this and just immediately jump into something else in the past. So that wouldn't exactly be all for him. Like it's three intriguing matches from a matchup perspective. I just don't know how well they're going to be executed because of, you know, the character dynamics. If anything, I think the thing I'm most interested in is seeing Bray get the win at this Mania that he didn't get at the Mania he should have originally got it at.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they even do that at all because, you know, the one thing you know about this company is don't expect anything. They'll make you look like a fool.
Yeah. So it's intriguing from those three matchups perspective. Like I said, it's all about the build up because I see a lot of people like, you know, there got to be some kind of way they could get Bianca back into this whole thing with Charlotte and Shayna. And I'm like, at this point, the way that they're basically almost making her like the female Black Ziggler, Dolph Ziggler, the NXT roster circa like years and years ago when he was still hot. It's bad. I'm like, at this point, they would literally have to make her just go psycho and attack the two of them weeks on end to the point where they couldn't even focus on each other. They want this girl so bad, and then they just make the company put her into the match. But even then, it's like, she's taking L's to both of these women clean back to back respectively. So it's like you really got to put in some narrative, nuance and oomph into this whole thing. But again, it's I have more faith in what they'll do with NXT talent, even with Bianca at this point, than I do with their main roster stuff. But.
So it's Becky and Baszler, Charlotte and Rhea Ripley. Yeah. And then we have Bayley and who? Is it going to be Sasha?
It's the odds on fate. I don't know. It's so up in the air with Sasha, but it's not like she hasn't taken a break and come back and turned on a friend before. Looking at you, Natalia.
Looking at you,
so I can very much see it. So that'll be, she could, go off and get some of that Mandalorian swag and go full bandit on Space Bandit on Bayley. So, that'll be something good. Pretty sure people have been calling for that NXT TakeOver rematch for years now. So.
I haven't. I don't want to see Bayley. I don't want to see Banks die. She almost did that time. Yikes. It'll be interesting to see who Bayley gets paired with. Maybe that's what you do with Bianca. You put her against Bayley. I mean, who else they going to put the SmackDown title match with at WrestleMania?
Yeah, she just any interest, because again, while it is one of my favorite gimmick matches, any interest in the Elimination Chamber coming up?
I'll see who's on the card. That's the best I can give you. I'm going to tune in Saturday for AEW's show because I think they're going to pull the trigger on Ambrose, and I think that would be a very wise move. But we'll see. Would you want to see, because right now there's no AEW star, you know what I mean? There's no, maybe you could say, the dork with the skateboard?
Oh, you're talking about Darby Allin?
Yeah, maybe Darby Allin's the first AEW guy, but he's not nearly ready. So, having two former WWE guys fighting the main event and for the title, what else are you going to do? You can't just, have Paige do it because he's not ready, and, Kenny's just...
Yeah, Jacob still got a ways to go.
MJF. Freeman. Yeah, MJF. So...
Yeah.
There's, Ambrose and Jericho just makes sense. Or Moxley and Ambrose. God damn it. Moxley and Jericho just makes sense. and I think they should pull the trigger on Moxley, but I don't know if they're going to. Do you want to see Moxley win that belt?
I mean, for me at this point, I'm still really, really into Jericho because it just so much. I mean, this guy feels like a 5'2" player at a time where he should probably only have a couple tools in the bank just because of where he is in his career. But it's the complete opposite. And I 100% been behind just all the freedom that it's finally good to see this guy get to shine in the way that he wants to and can shine. But I'm behind more the Jericho character. It works better from just several more different angles than Moxley. But I understand, what they've been building to with Moxley, and it makes sense, given him his comeuppance with everything that he's taken off of Jericho's faction, whose name escapes me at the moment. But yeah, so like you said, they pull the trigger. Yeah, the inner circle. Thank you. So they pull the trigger. I 100% get it. And like you said, they do feel like the two hottest guys in the company, Neville and not Neville, Pac and Kenny Omega just had a match that that we've been kind of expecting months ago, but we finally got. Kenny looked like the New Japan Kenny of old, which was cool. But other than that, I mean, the MJF Cody thing is intriguing. I think Pac may collide with Freshly Squeezed, which should be interesting. Because I've seen people say, "Oh, this guy can go. You just haven't seen it here." So that'll be interesting. And Darby, like the kid, I don't know how long he's off from paralyzing himself. But he's got a lot of momentum with that crowd. So we'll see who emerges. But I think a lot of people still on the train are waiting to see who's the leader of this this Dark Order stuff.
Well, let's see. Saturday is the 29th. Matt Hardy's not free until the 1st, so we'll see. We will see. If they reveal it on the 29th, it's obviously not going to be Matt.
Yeah, and speaking of new talent, because I saw it on your thing. Shout out to Lance Archer. I didn't see that jump coming.
I've been hearing rumblings. I just didn't know how serious it was. There were a few people interested, but apparently AEW gave him the best deal. So, I'm not at all surprised that's the way he went. Good for him. He definitely does deserve it. It's just one of those things where I don't know how much value he really has for AEW as a name. I think he's going to be kind of lost in the shuffle because look at all those guys they signed. Kip Sabian, can't remember half the goddamn roster, but they're not doing shit anymore. So I think AEW needs to realize that they need to run with the roster they got or free up some of the names because this is, I think, part of the reason why Kylie Ray wanted out because she knew she was going to get lost in the shuffle. And, looking at how many of the women have been lost in that shuffle, she was right.
They just getting off the ground with, Nyla Rose. What I think was the right move. She can bring a lot of intensity to that division. And you're seeing some other names take form that's not to knock them, but that's not foreign.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good. Establishing some of those names. Britt Baker, for me personally, whatever with Britt Baker, I'm liking Statlander. I really like Swole. But they could keep Britt Baker in her dentistry for all I care. But like you said, look, I haven't seen Sean Spears on TV in months. I don't know what they're doing with that, right? Like you had him with Tully Blanchard. I don't know what's going on there. You got Arn, back in Cody now, so that's the thing. But yeah, it's a lot of you realize there's a lot of talent in that company. You think you're seeing the crux of it every week, but it's even more than that. So like you said, they really need to get the ducks that they set up in the front of us in a row before they order some more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's part of the thing. When you look at the roster, especially with the women, I wonder if Statlander is the right choice now. Because the idea of Statlander and Nyla being the two most physical in the women's division, that's like a great blow off. Like, they're gonna come in and do the same exact things to one another, and it's gonna be the most hard hitting, and it might be the only time to actually take down Nyla Rose as a champion.
Yeah.
But instead, that's her first feud, and it's like, then where do you go from here? Do you do like another upset win to dethrone the champ? Like, we've gotten that enough. Something different, please. So that's something I would like to avoid, but I have a feeling it's going to be where they go quite a bit. So we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. It's hard to say at the top right now. But I did watch some of it on Wednesday, and then I watched some of it on YouTube. So I'm going to give Saturday a chance to bring me back into the fold. But I wasn't happy with a lot of what I was seeing. The first 6 weeks of the show, and I'm certainly not a fan of Excalibur. So it's certainly going to be a thing. It's certainly going to be a thing. Mark, is anything else catch your attention that you want to touch on before we head off for tonight?
No, anybody listening? Happy Pokemon Day.
Twitch has been showing Pokemon episodes all night.
Nice.
Oh, Sci-Fi is launching We Are Heroes campaign for Women's History Month. That's fantastic. Yay.
That's pretty much it for me.
Superboy Prime's back in the DC universe. That's interesting. See how that goes. So yeah, that's all we got then for tonight. For Mark Screen, I'm Chad Brody. You can check us out at realnerdcorp.com, RealNerdcorp.com. We are on Twitter at NERDCorp, on Instagram at realnerdcorp. By the by, did you see who our woman crush is?
That's
It was I can't remember her name.
Oh, you're talking about the other day, freaking Tika Sumter.
Yeah, Tika Sumter. Ooh, she's pretty, and she likes the white meat. So I'm like, yeah. If only she was single. I still wouldn't have a shot, but I could fantasize.
Exactly. She's checking out Chad as a husband. The attention is elsewhere, and I'm across the street shaking my hand out the window like an old fart.
Angry old man fist. Yeah. So, realnerdcorp.com, Podbean, realnerdcorp.podbean.com, RealNerdcorp.podbean.com, youtube.com/ComicCorp. Actually, you have to search ComicCorp. We are on twitch.tv/ComicCorp. Nope, Comic and GameCorp. There it is. Twitch.tv/Comic and GameCorp. So, yeah. Marcus, you can be found on your personals at ParadoxKid, ParadoxKid.
That's the kid.
You can also find him on his other podcast, The True Penny Show, at True Penny Show, on Twitter at TruePennyShow. And you can find me on Twitter at Chad Nerdcorp, ChadNerdCorp, and on Instagram at Chad's Photo Hut. We will be back, me and Marcus, on Sunday. We're going to be talking about ruthless aggression. It's the Ruthless Aggression Week for us. So Sunday's going to be all about ruthless aggression era. We're going to talk about the documentary for WWE, that docu-series, The Ruthless Aggression Era. We're going to talk about our favorites, wrestlers that, we remember from the generation and all that, and guys who should have been bigger and guys who were bigger than they should have been. So tune in Sunday for that. That will happen, barring me dropping any more coffee on my computer. So with all that being said, we're done for the night. Marcus, why don't you take us home?
Good night, me.